All right, so my fucking microwave broke again. I've owned this house for 11 years now, and I'm on my third fucking microwave. And my third microwave just broke, essentially. And it's so goddamn frustrating because I guarantee you, if we like went to older people's homes and trailer parks, they'd have fucking like working microwaves from the 90s and the 80s in their fucking homes right now. But my brand new microwave, and like the handle broke off on it within like a year. And this thing's only like 2 years old. I just put the fucking thing in. The handle's broken, and now the entire door won't fucking shut. And so it's going to cost me hundreds of dollars to get another fucking microwave. And it just pisses me off because we know goddamn well they could make these things to last if they wanted to. They just don't want to.
Absolutely.
They want planned obsolescence, the iPhone model where you have to buy a new fucking phone or a new whatever every couple of years because that's, you know, the way they make their money. Sorry, I'm all fucking stuffed up.
What would you call that? Forced consumerism?
Something like that. Yeah. Essentially rent seeking. Well, it's not necessarily rent seeking, but it's just bullshit. It's fucking, you know, goddamn well they could make that fucking door last. You know, microwaves in restaurants don't go out every couple of years. So why the fuck does the one in my house go out every couple of years?
Well, maybe you need to upgrade and get a industrial microwave and see how long that one lasts.
Like I have to have a fan connected to my microwave because I don't have a built-in exhaust fan in my house.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know, I might be able to like buy an exhaust fan, mount that up, and then mount an industrial microwave over the top of it. But I don't fucking know. It's just one thing after another, you know? It's
man.
The beauty of owning a home.
That's also a common issue with not only automobile manufacturers but motorcycle manufacturers, not to name names, but you know, they design shit not to last. And I have a pretty strong opinion about a certain manufacturer that pitches their synthetic oil that is supposed to be I don't remember. They try to say that it's good for all three because Harley Davidsons have most of them. Any standard like big twin. The Revolution Max is like a Japanese engine. It just has one oil chamber that is shared. But any other model, any other current model, they have three oil chambers: one for the engine, one for the transmission, and one for the primary. And they say that this one oil is good for all three chambers. And just based off of that, in my head, common sense says if it's adequate enough for all three, then it's definitely not the best for any of them. And I
probably
that's my pitch I give customers whenever I get the chance. And I built a 121 high output in a CVOST into a 135, and I talked that guy into at least going conventional 2050 in the engine, and he has brought it back for services since, and that is by far not only the best sounding what was a 121, but it sounds great. Not to toot my own horn, but I think I do a pretty fucking good job assembling an engine. But man, that conventional oil really, I think, works wonders.
And dude, they want you to like buy their version of the oil, which is always shittier than like a Castrol or a you know, I can't think of any of the other Maxima. Like there's a bunch of different types of oil. AMSOIL, you know, but like Yamaha wants you to buy Yamalube and Honda wants you to buy Honda oil. And like, dude, even like back in the day, it was really bad because they'd send you these brand new fucking bikes that you're paying up the ass for. And they'd come with steel handlebars on them that like you can't ride with, essentially. If you crash once, the things are destroyed and fucking gone because they're made out of stainless steel instead of aluminum.
Well, that
You know, the linkage, the axles, all of the shit would come with the cheapest fucking lightest coating of grease you could ever have on a part like that. So like you get a brand new bike and you have to put a new set of bars, a new chain, a new sprocket. You have to take it completely apart and relube everything. And it's like, why the fuck am I paying you all of this goddamn money if you're not going to ship me a bike that's ready to ride?
Yeah, not only that, you get you get charged for setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what exactly did you do? But
really
that's also ties into the that forced consumerism, man. If they rolled bikes off the line with all the sick shit on it, then they're basically cutting the legs out of the parts department of the dealerships. So it's unfortunate, but if you wanna make your ride fit you, I guess at that point I'd almost let each customer kind of build their bike to a degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
why make me pay that money when I let's just upgrade it right out of the gate and I don't know, save me a few $100.
You can get the same mountain bike with, I don't know, 5 different versions of a frame. You know, you can get whatever size that fits your body type the best. But if you buy a dirt bike or a street bike, you buy the same bike that's made for a guy who's 5'3" and a guy who's 6'3".
Yeah. I saw a really good video. This dude that it does mountain bike shit, and he bought, I don't remember what the brand of the bike was, but it was a Walmart bike that he bought from Walmart. And I can't remember the dollar amount. I think he wound up putting damn near $3,000 into better components, but ultimately just wound up putting all these sick components on that frame. And it was a pretty freaking decent mountain bike at that point, but it.
And dude, mountain bikes are so fucking expensive nowadays. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
You pay as much for a mountain bike or more than you would for a dirt bike.
Yeah,
which makes
easy.
No sense whatsoever. Like you can pay 10 grand for a mountain bike.
No
or
problem.
A road bike. A road bike has even less components on them, but carbon frames and this, that. I saw a thumbnail for a video the other day that I didn't watch it because to me it was just bullshit. Like it was an advertisement for a company that's selling titanium fork tubes for dirt bikes. It was like the lightest forks you can buy on a dirt bike. It's like, well, can we think this through a little bit? Like the biggest problem with a lot of these new bikes is they don't get enough front end traction. And the biggest problem with KTM, who is, one of the biggest manufacturers out there right now, they sell WP air forks on their bike stock. And 9 times out of 10, people take those air forks out and put KYB spring inserts into them because they don't get enough front end traction. Well, why is that? Because they're too light in the front. So like you're going to sell this set of fork tubes that's just going to make your bike into an air fork bike essentially. And you're thinking you're getting a great product because it's light and it's titanium and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it's probably not going to help you any, it's the valving's no better. The springs are no better. You're just getting a lighter tube. So like, how is that really going to help you? Especially like if you're a big guy and you're loading the front of your bike,
Yeah.
like it doesn't make any sense to me. And I saw the thumbnail and I was like, I'm not watching that. That's fucking stupid money grab,
Yep. But it says titanium and it's different.
Yeah. I remember like on my last bike, I got like a whole titanium bolt kit from Pro Circuit and I was all fired up on it. And like, you can't notice it. You're shaving a couple of ounces off of the bike. And like, sure, they look kind of cool, but after a couple rides, they don't look great, just like anything else. And, the paint got chipped off of the ones that were painted and like for the most part. And now thinking about it, like a lot of these guys, like these factory bikes will put titanium everything on the bike, like as much titanium as they possibly can. And then they've got chassis problems because everything's so fucking stiff that you're just getting, heavy movement into your hands and reverberation through the frame and the chassis, and they end up going back to stainless.
Yeah, titanium is light, but I believe it's dense as fuck, right? But it's also very
rigid.
brittle.
Yeah, and it's rigid. So you're like, I don't know, man. It's one of these things where you don't need it, especially like if you're a 200-pound vet rider. Why the fuck do you need to shave 10 ounces off of your bike? It makes no sense. Just go take a shit before you ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck.
So what did you think of that Elon Musk podcast, Joe Rogan? Did you watch that whole thing?
I listened to it. I definitely, I'll try to throw a podcast on in my earbuds while I'm like doing other stuff, usually getting ready in the morning, making breakfast and stuff. So I kind of, I catch bits and pieces that catch my attention, but yeah, like I texted you, man, I found it pretty funny that not only Elon, well, it makes sense that Elon said it, but I found it interesting that Joe actually aired it about and I don't remember exactly what he said, but something to the effect of if it's acceptable to be proud to be Asian or like Indian or something like that, then there should be no problem having white pride.
Yeah. Which I thought was funny. I was watching a pred catch last night, and this guy was they call this guy up who he pretends to be like a gay mental health student, and he just like talks to these preds while they're killing time before the cops come. I'll read like what he said. So in the beginning he was like something about I don't remember it exactly. I don't think we could play it because it wouldn't work, but he was saying something about like he was like, now some scholars have opined that a Zionist occupied government has led to the downfall of Western civilization. And then the guy's just like, what? And he just keeps going and going on all kinds of crazy shit. And then at the end he goes, where is it? Here it is. He goes, now me and Mr. Flowers are very invested in the 14 words. And he's like, okay, what are the 14 words? He goes, we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. And it's just supposed to be they're just getting this guy to fucking admit to shit on camera for a bread catch, and like the guy just calls up and does all this white supremacist shit. It was fucking hilarious. I'm out in the hot tub at 1:00 in the morning just fucking cracking up. But I don't know. I think fucking Joe Rogan and Elon Musk to an extent are just out to lunch on AI. Like,
oh yeah, dude. The whole AI stuff, yeah. That the one thing Elon said that it's always, dude, with people that are that fucking rich and have that much ability to like influence and steer not only society but governments and technology and shit like that. There's always that little fucking nagging thing in the back of my mind, no matter what's going on. I'm like, what's your real game plan here? But the one thing Elon said that I kind of liked and agreed with, he said, well, if it, like Elon said, if I'm not in the AI game, then I'm not going to be able to influence it at all. But if I am in the mix, I at least have the chance to influence. And great. And this is coming from a guy that does not fuck with AI like in any way, shape, or form. But
yeah,
suppose
I think that's kind of code for like there's a lot of money to be made here. And
I
want to get my feet in the pool.
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of look at it.
but the one like what, and this is just what he says. I don't know firsthand or anything like that, but I've heard different people, different people's experiences using different AIs. But what's Elon's Grok?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he says his intention is with Grok is to make it like the most I don't remember the word he used, but like the most actual like kind of like free thinking or something like that, not just not truly biased by its controllers.
It's not indoctrinated into bullshit.
Yeah, and I can't remember. I heard an example. It was something have. I can't. I wouldn't even be able to like halfway pull it out. But just comparing answers that you get from other AIs and then from Grok, it seems, according to what I've heard, that Grok is like the most supposedly like conscious, not just already programmed to steer people in a certain direction.
I was getting some ideas for my sci-fi book from ChatGPT recently, and this is like, crazy shit, wormholes, black holes, like, and it knows that the conversation is revolving around the plot of a science fiction book. Like, that's the whole purpose of the conversation that I was having with it. And then I asked it, like, because the book's going to have like an EMP in it. And I was like, based on everything you know about the book so far, give me some interesting and unique ways that an EMP could wipe out electricity on the entire planet. And it was like, I'm sorry, I can't help you build a weapon. I'm like, help me build a weapon. We're talking about a science fiction book, and we're talking about technologies that don't even exist today. I'm a fucking amputee sitting on a podcast in my office. You really think you're going to be able to teach me to build an EMP that's going to wipe out electricity on the entire planet? Like, calm the fuck down. I'm sorry, I can't help you build a weapon. Well, you're fucking stupid.
What was I've seen a couple headlines about supposedly now it's illegal for AI to give any kind of like medical or financial advice, and I think there was another one.
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I saw a couple headlines. I didn't read into it at all, but I mean, why the fuck not?
I mean, I think people should be allowed to get advice from whoever the fuck they want.
Whoa.
If you're dumb enough to take financial advice from a fucking computer, like, that's on you, And I've got some decent suggestions on medical, stuff for my hand and phantom limb pain that I hadn't thought of or I hadn't seen before on ChatGPT or Grok. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, I hate guardrails to begin with. Like, people should be able to make up their own decisions. I don't need daddy.
Darwinism, man.
Yeah, like, I don't need daddy telling me who I can and can't listen to. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, 100%. I was woeing because you said whoever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, whatever. Whatever. You know what I mean. Anyways. What did you think about Elon and Joe's take on work? How people aren't going to work anymore and everybody's just going to have a high universal wage.
Yeah.
And, I guess a couple of companies that create these AIs are going to pay all the taxes, and they're just going to be okay with paying everybody to sit on their asses all fucking day and do nothing. Sounds like a great idea to me.
Yeah, Elon's take on I believe he was saying that the only what were they using? Social Security as an example, that Social Security is basically going to have to start throttling back their payouts in 7 years.
Oh yeah, they're going broke.
Yeah. And the supposedly, according to Elon, the only way to try to curb that is through AI and technology to increase GDP.
Raise GDP.
Yeah.
And it's just stupid to me because, like, you can't just create something out of nothing. So what, you're going to have a couple of companies that are going to pay all the taxes. And then also, if you're working a job where you're, according to Elon, pushing atoms, so AKA working on motorcycles, working on power lines, building homes, plumbing, you're going to have to work. But if you're a loser that went to college for a bullshit degree, you're going to be able to sit on your fat ass and watch movies all day and get a high income for it. Like,
well, fuck, man.
They really think that's going to fly with people? I mean,
fucking better not.
Get real.
I mean,
better fucking not.
I do what I do, and I've had the, mostly blue collar jobs that I've had throughout my life, because if I take 2 weeks off, like a week and a half in, I'm already going fucking stir crazy.
Yeah. But imagine if okay, so like you clearly like your job, you like working on motorcycles and you need to make money. But if you didn't need to make money, you would rather sit at home and work on your own motorcycles or build a motorcycle from scratch or do something creative with motorcycles rather than like going and working on other people's toys for them for dirt money for the most part. And like, just imagine if you guys all get called in, your entire shop gets called into a meeting and the owner goes, "Hey, look, we're going to replace the service department and the sales department and whoever else we possibly can with artificial intelligence. And those people are going to be able to sit at home and collect their paycheck still. But you got to drag your ass in here when it's negative 30 degrees out or 100 degrees out and work all day."
That's 100%
Am I a
bullshit.
Slave?
Yeah, that's 100% bullshit. But
that's what he's saying is going to happen.
I don't see. I don't remember. I know he said that, but if it's gonna be something like that, where there are people who become their line of work becomes obsolete, dude, as long as I'm at least making that same high level of income, I still would rather drag my ass into work and be active. But that would just end up being the beginning of the end, because even my job, if it is still valuable for me pushing atoms around every day and then everybody else is just sitting at home, eventually, those people are going to have kids. It's idiocracy, man. Those people are going to have kids. Those people are going to sit there and then eventually nobody's going to be riding motorcycles around, and then I become obsolete also.
Yeah. And dude, there's just no way to collect enough taxes from a couple of companies to pay, a wage for 100 million people, 200 million, however many 100 million people it's going to be. Like, they would have to print money to make up the dividend, because there's just no way you're going to collect that much in taxes.
Yeah.
And prices are just going to continue to go up. So you're going to end up being just like the welfare queens that are in our country today, who are stuck in the system. They can't afford to go to work because they would lose their benefits and all their health insurance and all that shit. So they're stuck like suckling the teat of the government for fucking, pennies on the dollar. Essentially, they're not making enough to have like a meaningful life. They're just fucking losers sitting around in their home. And to be fair, like, these people don't have drive. A lot of them could get a job that would pay more than their government salaries or their government benefits would pay them, but they just don't want to.
Yeah.
They're lazy as fuck, and they would rather just, sit at home and work on, like, collect money from people who are working their asses off every day. So like, I just don't see this being a possibility, especially since like I'm on record that we're quite a ways out from any meaningful like robotic technology coming in and displacing people that do manual labor of any type. Like,
yeah,
I would imagine it's going to be a while before artificial intelligence is replacing the bulk of office workers and workers like that. Like, I think they're way ahead of their skis. And, like, I sent you this video today. I don't know if you watched it, but it was Joe Rogan and and Brett Weinstein discussing the Elon Musk podcast. And Joe said that money is made up and stupid, and so is work. It's made up and stupid. And at least like Brett Weinstein pushed back on him a little bit. And like, to be fair, like fiat currency is made up and stupid. Like the dollar is a made up store of value. It's stupid. Like the government's allowed to print as many of them as they can, and we get screwed. You know, it's a transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich, like all of these things. But that's not the case for a store of value. And you're always going to have a store of value, whether it's a house, whether it's gold. You know, before there was fiat currencies, people traded gold or they bartered through, you know, different, like, you know how to work on bikes. I know how to work on electricity. I'll wire up your shop and you fix my bike. Like that's a barter trade essentially.
Yeah.
And once you have a big enough society, it's impossible to price things properly.
Yeah.
How much is my time worth compared to your time? So you need a medium of exchange in order to do that. And like a medium of exchange should be a store of value. But in the case of the US dollar, it's not, because the dollar has lost the majority of its, you know, purchasing power since we've went off the gold standard and since we've instituted the Federal Reserve. So it's a medium of exchange, but it's not a store of value. So like if we could go to a form of money that was a medium of exchange and a store of value, then there's nothing stupid about it. Like that's the way civilization runs, is you have to be able to put a price on your time, to put a price on your labor. This is, you know, I built this bike. It took me this many hours. My time is worth this, so it's going to cost you that. And in the, you know, in a capitalist economy, like sellers aren't always the ones who set prices. If you're the best bike builder in Montana, then you have the ability to kind of set your own prices.
Yeah.
But if you're a smaller bike builder and you're on your second or third bike and you're still coming up, well, in that case, the buyer is setting the price, because you can ask all you want for the bike. But if they have the ability to go to a more reputable buyer and buy a bike for the same price, they're going to do that. So you have to be willing to, you know, lower your price in order to get the deal, essentially. And, you know, the one thing that they overlook in all of this is that resources are scarce, and they're always going to be scarce. Even, you know, once we get out into space and there's all kinds of shit out there that we can mine and use to build, like, it's still going to cost energy to take it and, you know, get to it and mine it and use it. Like, resources are scarce. They're always going to be scarce. And like this whole fucking communist socialist utopia fantasy that these people like Don and Joe have is just ridiculous. Like it's never worked in history. What makes you think that one technology is all of a sudden going to make it work?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a little bit of hope. What's that supposed asteroid that everybody's saying is a alien ship?
Oh yeah, 3i Atlas.
Yeah, man. I hope I hope it is. I mean, with my recent endeavors in human relationships with human women, I'm just doubling down on my green alien wife.
I think from everything I've seen, it's clearly a comet, but you know, maybe I'm just watching, you know, controlled opposition that are lying to us about its true nature. I think the one giveaway that it's a comet is its speed. Like, it's moving fast for a comet, but if it was a spaceship, it'd be the slowest fucking interplanetary, you know, spaceship or, you know, intergalactic spaceship in the history of science fiction. The thing's moving so fucking slow, it's not even funny. So like, I would imagine that if you had a smart alien race and you were building a spaceship to go to another star, you'd get the thing moving a little bit faster than it's going right now. And you'd probably aim it at Earth rather than Mars.
Oh, it's aimed at Mars?
Yeah, it's going to come way closer to Mars than Earth.
Huh. Well,
it's like not even really coming anywhere near Earth. It's like going to Mars.
Well, what if it stops and then a bunch of little
that fake
asteroids
doesn't really exist? Well, I guess speaking of mediums of exchange, and stores of value. Should we go over some like potential investment strategies?
Yeah, dude, I'm down. I've been told I have excessive disposable income, so I need to find a place to park it.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm a financial advisor. I'm a stockbroker. I'm Satoshi Nakamoto, so I think I can. I'm very qualified to tell you what to do with your substantial fortune.
Well, you're
at this point.
you're definitely more qualified than I am. That's a guarantee. I should not be allowed to make financial choices for myself.
You know, like one of the things that I learned about when I started like getting into finances and stuff is like a lot of times some of the smartest people in society are the worst people to handle their own money. So like
oh man, thanks.
Doctors, like doctors, for instance, are terrible at managing their own money because they think they're so fucking smart and I'm so much smarter than this money guy. Why would I pay him to handle my money for me? I'm just going to do it myself. And they end up losing all their fucking money.
Lovely.
So, anyways, I've got a couple ideas for you. So, like, the problem is like every time you decide that you want to invest money, you don't do it.
Yeah, that I'd say that's definitely problem number one.
That's pretty accurate, right?
I accept that.
You spend it and you don't invest it. So I'm worried that if you do have disposable income of any amount, like doesn't matter if it's $1,000 or $1 million, that you're gonna spend that shit. So, like, hey
man, I'm in emotional distress right now. I gotta.
Yeah. Well, this is there's no emotions in money and politics.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I definitely, dude. It's been heavy on my mind for a while, especially in like at least like for sure since we started the podcast. The constant beration that I receive from you has been weighing on me, and I'm not getting any younger, and I absolutely need to commit to a game plan, whatever that game plan is, and start making moves. To try to secure some sort of stable retirement. I accepted a long time ago that I'm probably going to work as long as I fucking possibly can, but that doesn't...
Well, you're not going to have a choice if you don't invest.
Exactly, but at the same time, the seriousness of establishing some sort of fund to support me during the period of my life where I'm unable to work has just been growing in my mind. So I really, really need to start doing something.
Yeah. I think the first thing that you should really focus on, and it'll help once you start investing and you start to see your money working for you. So like, I've done well with my investments, and like I basically was a consumer just like every other normal American in the fucking country up until I like learned about Bitcoin and I started putting my extra money into that. And then you start looking at money in a different way. You start going, well, I could buy this stupid thing that might bring me temporary happiness or might be cool for a time, but in the long run, like it's not going to really do much for me. And it's called opportunity cost, essentially, is like, what is the value of the next best thing? So if like your best thing is an investment, like what's the value of the next best thing? Is, going out to the bar really as important to me as, having a stable financial future? Because in the short term, it might be like, I'm spending $100. It's Friday night. It's not a big deal type of thing.
Yeah.
But then 5 years down the road, that $100 is
every week.
$500.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just start doing it every week. And it starts to build up really fucking fast, essentially. And a lot of people that have spending problems, have a problem saving money because it burns a hole in their pocket, and they just want to go out. If they've got money, they're going to spend the money. And like a big part of that is like, when I was younger, I never really thought that I would have any money to play with. And when I started like working at Players in San Francisco, I started saving a bunch of money just because I was working my ass off all the time and I was making good money. So like at one point I went into a Charles Schwab in San Francisco to ask like, if they can help me with my money. And I had like 35 grand or something like that, which for, an ex-drug addict bartender is a lot of money. Yeah. But for the financial sector in San Francisco is fucking peanuts. So they wanted nothing to do with me, And I asked my grandparents, like, hey, can you help me out? And both of them were like, no, we've lost a bunch of money in recent years, and I wouldn't feel responsible, like, investing money for you. It's just not a good idea, essentially. And so I kind of was just resigned to the fact that I was never going to have any money, There's nothing to do with my money. I'm never going to, save up enough money in order to, like, get somebody to invest it for me. And I don't have the smarts or the capabilities to do it on my own. I didn't know anything about finance. I didn't know anything about money. And it was just kind of one of those things where it was like, well, I tried, and I guess I'm just resigned to this life of mediocrity,
Yeah.
And, like Bitcoin was really easy for me to understand. I understand energy, and like I read the book on it and the book made sense. It was dumbed down really, really well. And one of the things I've noticed, like, since I've gotten into this shit is that it's not as complicated as you think it is. Like, the powers that be are highly invested in making you think that finances are an investment is much more complicated than it actually is, because essentially they don't want you clawing your way out of poverty.
Yeah.
They want serfs. They want poverty-stricken people that are dependent on them. They don't want you thinking for yourself, and they don't want you being a part of their world, essentially. It's a segregated, our country is segregated by income, not so much by race. Maybe it should be by race, but...
Whoa.
But it's segregated by financial situation, like they don't want you at the country club. They want you to work on their bike for you, and they'll be cool to you when they come in and ask you what parts you think you should do and stuff like that. But essentially, like, they don't want you in their country club.
Yeah.
They don't want you in their, subdivision. Like, they want you to stay in your lane so they can enjoy their life. And it's, like, you live in Montana, you see all of these people from California moving out here and buying these ranches. They're not buying these ranches to, like, be cowboys. They're buying it to look at the scenery, and they want you to go away. They want you to move to Wyoming or Utah or wherever.
South Dakota.
Just get out of my scenic region, essentially.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of the problem that we're dealing with here. So I guess the first question is, and this is a big question, because it could make or break the strategy, but do you think you are capable of saving money in a savings account or a checking account?
That honestly, that has been a big question I've been asking myself, and I feel like I think I believe I can now. But the thing that always comes into my mind is then if something happens, like, to my vehicle, and I don't have the money to handle it at the time, and yada yada yada, and that, and then dipping into it, so that I definitely want to try and force myself to start, and I feel like that's kind of step one, is starting to slice off a percentage or a dollar amount of every paycheck into an account, to build it to a point that I then can strike when the time's right to throw it into something to potentially, like you said, have it start working for me.
So you've got to have some sort of cushion that's liquid in case your truck breaks down or whatever. You know, you got to go to a hospital.
But then that's also why I stay on the old vehicle realm. I don't buy new vehicles. And that's why I have 2 4-wheel vehicles intentionally. Obviously, with winter coming up, my priority is my 4-wheel drive truck. Keep making sure that is in good enough condition to get me to work when the snow flies and I need 4-wheel drive. So there's like seasonally the importance of one vehicle or the other shifts.
So I think that your 2 best investment opportunities, 3, I guess we could say 3, but 2 for the most part would be gold and Bitcoin. You could add silver into there too, but I'm not as big a believer in silver as gold and Bitcoin. The problem with them right now is that like they're both essentially right around all-time highs.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what's going to happen, especially with Bitcoin. Like gold is a little bit more stable, and I don't think we're going to see massive corrections in the near term or even, you know, the midterm. It's more of like a slower build.
Yeah.
So you would be fairly safe in investing in that. I mean, you missed the window that we took this big jump, but you know, if you got yourself a position, you could, you know, keep your money stabilized and have a slow climb on it. And then when it takes the next big leap, like you're there to do it. And, you know, Bitcoin, I have no idea what's going to happen with Bitcoin. I don't know if we're going to 130 or 150 or if the bull market's almost over and we're going back down again.
Yeah.
And, you know, like right now, like Michael Saylor, he's buying at $100,000. He's buying it 120 grand, but it's a lot easier to buy at those prices when you're a billionaire because your life doesn't change regardless of the price. Like he's bought enough at this point and like he has enough money that if it goes down for a couple years, who cares? Like it's
going to go back up
when he's got the money. And like for people that don't have a ton of money, like investing at 120 is a whole lot different than investing at 60 or 70.
Yeah.
You know, that's double the amount of your money. So I think that like the 2 options would be like, you gotta, at some point you're going to have to like say, okay, this is my dollar amount that I'm going to have in my checking account as a cushion, whether it's $2,000 or $5,000 or whatever you decide it needs to be. You go, I'm going to keep that amount static in this account. And when it drops down from there, I'll refill it to that amount. And then everything else goes to an investment, you know? And like, it's not like you can't cash that stuff out and liquidate it and bring it back into cash. It's just harder to do.
Yeah.
And depending on the price you buy it at and the price you sell it at, you have to pay taxes on it, which is, you know, bullshit and illegal, but that's the world we fucking live in. So it does happen. And so like, ideally, I think it would be good for you to wait for, you know, the bull market to kind of end with Bitcoin and to start investing when we see a pretty decent correction down into the like, you know, 50 to 60,000 range. I don't pretend to know where it's going to go, but I think that's the range I'm looking at to invest in again is like the $50,000 to $60,000 range.
Yeah.
But you could also and then there's 2 ways you can do that. If you decide, okay, I'm going to wait and hopefully the price goes down to that amount. I mean, and here's the deal. If it ends up going to 150,000, maybe the price doesn't go down that low. And I don't think that's going to happen. But again, I'm not a genie in a lamp. Like I have no idea, but ideally I think it would be best if you could get a bigger position by waiting to get in at the bear market. But at that point, you're running the risk of having money that's liquid in your pocket, you know, in your bank card that you have access to kind of go, well, I can go to lunch today. When you start to get into a spot where it's like, okay, this is my $5,000. And if I go below this amount, like I'm dipping into savings, then it starts to kind of change your spending habits.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'll go to the store this week and buy stuff to make sandwiches for work instead of going to McDonald's or whatever you do for lunch.
And that's what I used to do pretty consistently. And yet again, another side effect of my relationships over the last couple of years. I prioritized those over my financial issues, and now I just had this conversation recently. I was fully aware the the two things I seriously need to get sorted in my life are my finances and I would, I mean, it's human nature, right? Like I'm tired of being alone. And unfortunately, I had the two relationships that I had over the last like two and a half years, and I prioritized those over my financials, hoping that I would be able to establish a solid relationship with them, and to the point where the finances could be discussed and game planned and attacked. Unfortunately, neither women were interested in that when it comes to that point. So now
I think it would be better if you could put yourself in a financial position where you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Where you can go, hey, look, get on the bus or don't. But like, we're not going to, combine finances if you're not going to be on board with saving for a future. Essentially.
Yeah. I
like they say, you can't help others if you can't help yourself.
100%.
So if you're in a position where you're not capable of providing yourself with a better future, you can't really expect that you're going to be able to do it with somebody else, regardless if they're on board or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think especially with like, your history of relationships and the history of divorce in this country at this point. That
what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, well, I'm not any better. I'm saying the same thing for myself.
Yeah.
I think it's probably smart to not combine finances.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bad idea. I mean, the divorce is so prevalent in this country that it's just become it's not a big deal to most people.
Yeah.
And if you are in a position where you think you're going to be with the same person forever and you combine finances and you're the one taking the financial hit out of the two, then you're screwed when that person decides to bounce, if they do.
Yeah. Trust me. I know
it's kind of hard to, it's kind of hard to count on that not happening at this point.
My relationship, outlook at this point in time is like a sugar mama or nothing.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Anyway, so back to like the three options. So first, you save cash. You get a savings account. Do you have a savings account?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So you get a savings account. You decide what your emergency fund is going to be. Set it at $2,000, $5,000, whatever you think it needs to be, and you keep that much in your checking account.
Yeah.
You put everything else into the savings account, and you go, I am absolutely not touching the savings account unless fucking life or death.
Yeah. Well, how about I start open a savings account that I don't have access to, and then if I absolutely need it, I have to run it by you, and you have to approve of it.
That'd work, right? I promise I won't steal it.
So I do, and one thing I've wanted to talk to you about is probably the only decent financial decision I've made in the last couple years was I did open what is it? Was it like a simple IRA retirement plan? So I at least did that. I just got a statement, and It's not a lot, but I have a little bit stashed in that, and I'm really curious, and I really wanted to get your opinion because I once again, you are leaps and bounds more knowledgeable and everything as far as like finances go compared to me for sure. But options of what I
Yeah.
could do with that money in that simple
Yeah.
IRA to make it
So I would,
to make it work
I,
harder for me.
yeah. I would find out, you already know how much you've got in it, so that's good. I would find out how much it's going to cost you to cash it out and how long it would take
Yeah.
to cash out. Because I would suggest you put that money elsewhere when the time is right,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to know how long it's going to take you to get access to that money
Yeah.
when the time is right.
Yeah.
So you talk to whoever you've got it with, say, hey, look, how long is it going to take me to cash this out? What's the penalty going to be? What's the penalty if I invest a little bit more in it? Kind of just get the feel of how much it's going to cost you to cash it out, because it's going to cost something.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be a huge amount, especially if you don't have a ton in there. So it's probably going to be a percentage of it
Yeah.
rather than like, a lump sum essentially. So like back to the options, like if you really don't think that you're like capable of saving money in a savings account, it might be best to just start taking a couple $100 from each paycheck that you get and putting it into Bitcoin.
Either
Just
that,
go,
either
okay,
that, or
like,
gold.
yeah, you could buy gold too. So
Yeah.
I'll get to that. Gold or Bitcoin. If you decide that you're not into Bitcoin and that's not something that you want to fuck with and you would rather do something a little bit safer, you can go with gold. Or what you can do is you can start buying gold now. And when the time is right, you cash that gold in and convert it over to Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
kind
when
of
you
what I
do
was
that,
getting.
you don't have to pay cashes because you're going from one asset to another. But you don't know what the gold price is going to be when you sell it down the road, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, like right now is not like the best time for either asset. They're both like at all-time highs essentially.
But
like gold is down a little bit, Bitcoin's down a little bit, but
it's better
they're
to,
in the neighborhood of
and it
all-time
it
high.
would be better for me to park it there than in a savings account, probably, that I have access to.
Yeah, if you really don't think like you can have it, because it's still there and you can still get it, you just have to go and sell the gold, or you have to sell the Bitcoin and transfer it into another account. And like, once it's kind of there, it's harder to do, because especially once you see it start working for you, you
Yeah.
go, okay, I started with $1,000 and now it's $1,500. If I take that 500 out, then it's going to take even longer for it to accumulate back up again.
Yeah.
And like one of the big things to like think about is that like this shit doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like this is a slow burn. These are both long-term investments. This is not a get rich quick scheme.
Oh, I'm not.
Especially if you don't have like a lot of money to invest.
Yeah.
Like these are both really long-term investments. And like,
But they're
people
stable.
think that you have to be day trading to make money, and a lot of times these day traders, they'll do well for a while. Like my grandfather was a day trader. He did well for a long time, but all he was really doing was listening to Jim Cramer. And anybody who knows anything about Jim Cramer knows that's not a great investment strategy in the long term. Like he might make you some money on the day-to-day basis for a while, but in the long term, like you're going to get wrecked essentially. And so like Warren Buffett, for instance, like Warren Buffett didn't day trade. I think he's done investing now, but like he still has investments, but he's not running
Active.
Berkshire Hathaway anymore.
Yeah.
But essentially like he made all of his money in a couple of trades. When the time was right, he held off, he had his investments, he kept some dry powder on the side, cash or bonds or whatever it was, something fairly liquid, so that when the time came, he was ready to ape in, essentially. And so, like, it kind of depends on you and which direction you think you should go in, and like how responsible you think you can be with liquid money, with liquid assets, because, would it be a better move to get in at 50 or 60K at Bitcoin? Absolutely. But not if you're going to spend that money before you get it in
there. Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if like, it's not the end of the world to buy in right now, you know, like
Yeah.
the last cycle was 4 years ago. I was buying the top at 70,000, you know, cause I thought it was going to go much higher. It didn't. And 4 years down the line, like I'm still way ahead, you know, and it'll go down again. But like the majority of my buys came at around 20 to 30K. So like I'm doing real well, but like, you know, even if you do buy the top, like it's just a matter of time before it accumulates more value. And like you might lose some money in the short run.
Yeah.
If you're buying the top, like you could put in $1,000 right now, and a year from now, it could be worth 700,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
if you're
get that.
looking at it as a long-term investment, you go, just don't pay attention to that. These are waves in the ocean. In the end, like the ocean always fucking wins.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that
like,
totally
I don't
makes
really
sense, man.
have, like,
Yeah.
and it might be better like to go gold right now, because gold is going to be far more stable than Bitcoin. And you could go, okay, I'm going to buy gold for the next year or so, however long, until I tell you that I'm considering buying again, or I think this is a good time to buy. And you can go cash that gold in and buy Bitcoin with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And like you said, it makes sense, you know, depending on how gold goes, but that is also, like you said, and something I've heard about gold in general is it's fairly stable. Yeah. It kind of like it, you know, it kind of like goes, but for the most part, gold just kind of keeps, you know, through the little dips and stuff. It generally, like you said, it's not any massive gains or anything, but it trends upward in general. So I mean, I get that it's a risk either way, and that's kind of what that was kind of my ultimate takeaway. One, dude, like I said, the weight of me needing to, whatever it is, the weight of me needing to do something responsible with my money is heavy on me. And if anything,
I mean, think about how many stupid things you've bought since we've started trying to get you investing, and how much money that would accumulate.
I don't even want to think about the last 2 months.
Yeah. It happens,
Yeah.
you know? And like, once you start seeing that money like work for you and to start accumulating, it'll change your spending habits. But like,
dude, even my simple IRA
it
has done that.
still takes some discipline. Yeah, it still takes some discipline in order to do it, because it's super easy to just go out and spend money. Like I buy too much shit on Amazon that I probably don't need, you know? Like there's some stuff that I do need, and there's some stuff it's like, that'd be cool. You know, I just spent like $100 for like exhaust tape and you know, like shit from my truck. And
yeah, but
do I need it? No, like, but I'm doing the truck right now, and like I've been good with my money, so like, yeah, I'll fucking spend some money here and there when I have a situation for it. But you know, like eating out is the big one, you know.
Oh, for sure, dude. Then that was
at home. You got to start doing sandwiches and shit for work. Like eating out just really fucking kills you fast.
That was a fucking big chunk of my my last couple of relationships, and it would So I'm trying to get my mindset solidly on sorting my financial life out, and I mean, I had
and
that.
You can kind of tell yourself it's going to be a tight 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
For the next 10, from 40 to 50, I'm not going to spend very much, you know, unless I have to. Like every once in a while, I can do something fun, or, you know, like you're not going Amish, but, you know, like you got to be responsible with your money most of the time. And you say, look, if I do that for 10, 15 years, like, the latter part of my life, I'll have more money to play with. I'll be able to go on vacations. I'll be able to do fun things. If I want a new vehicle or a new bike, I should be able to afford it. But like for now, it's time to grind and like save that fucking money. and
Yeah.
keeping yourself busy as you can so you're not out going to bars and going out to eat. Like those are probably the two biggest things that like I don't know what you do on a day-to-day basis when you're not at work. Like I have no idea. But I would imagine that like bars and restaurants are probably you're probably spending a little bit more on that type of shit than you probably should.
Not when I'm single, honestly. For the most part, when I'm single, I come home. At the most, it's we have a little bit of a rotating schedule at work of people buying like a case of beer, and then some coworkers we hang out in the back after work and have a couple beers, and then for the most part it's home after that, and I'm just chilling in the shop with my cat, like working on one of my bikes or on my vehicles and stuff. So it's like I said, being single again, and basically a second failed relationship that has that like becomes like supposedly an issue at the end of the relationship. And I'm like, well, the whole time we've been together, I've been trying to, get you to see that, hey, maybe we can stop going out multiple times a week. And so I'm not spending $300 to $400 a week on us going out to fucking eat. But yeah, once again, like single, dude, I'd like
it ends up being like a 30-year paycheck.
What was that?
It ends up being like a 30-year paycheck when you're going out to eat every night.
100%. So I'm really focusing on getting myself back to that, because like I said before, I was pretty fucking regular on going on Monday on my second day off, basically my Sunday, and I'd go to the store, I'd get some lunch meat, I'd get some cheeses, and then I just kind of do that deal, and the amount of money that saves. So I and yeah, I think I will. I definitely will go make a trip to the bank probably this next Monday and just open up, because I get paid Saturday. So go to the bank Monday, open up a savings account, and just start funneling. Even if I start with $100 a paycheck, I could probably do a little bit more, but we'll see. At least get something fucking sliced off to get the ball rolling, and
hey,
then
dude, like, you could even like do like, if you really don't trust yourself, do like a joint account with your mother and just say, hey, look, like I'm not keeping a card or checks for this account. So like if I want to spend money out of it, you have to go and get it for me. So at least you'd be embarrassed if you were asking for money for something stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
And like it's not the end of the world.
I might give myself a shot and see if I can hold strong, and then if I continue to fail, just make sure you just do me a favor and make sure you berate and ridicule me mercilessly on air if I'm failing.
Yeah. No, I won't ask you like how much you're saving on air, but you'll have to tell me off air. So I can know how much to ridicule you
for
on
sure.
The following episodes, right?
Yeah. So my goal.
I think like any of those strategies will work. Like
I like the. And check check in with me fucking next week. I'm also trying to kick myself in the ass and start getting consistent again now that I kind of got my head out of my ass with my emotional issues and stuff, and we're solidly coming into winter. So I'm gonna also, along with the money, try to hold myself to showing up here more regularly.
You know what else I would do for the next couple weeks, at least, even months? Track everything you spend.
Yeah.
Whether it's on lunch or beer or parts, whatever it is.
And that's
track it all, and then at the end of the month, add it all up and go, holy shit, this is how much I spent.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it doesn't feel like you're spending a lot of money on a day-to-day basis, or even like if you're only spending money once or twice a week on stuff that you don't typically, like technically need.
Yeah.
But you get to the end of the month and you add all that up and you go, holy shit, I spent, $500 this month. And like, I didn't need to do that. Like at the end of the month, like what has it got me, other than some temporary gratification,
which I didn't even get that out of my relationships.
Yeah, just pain and anguish.
Yeah. So yeah,
all right.
Goals for this week. I'm gonna go open up a savings account on Monday, and we'll just try to snowball this motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like I said with me, like my spending habits didn't really change until I started to see an escape hatch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once I saw that like things were moving in the right direction, it was like, oh wow, like I can make a difference with what I'm. And like I think while I was on workers' comp, it won't be as easy for you to do because it's not, the same time. But like I was making like, I don't know, I was only making like $2,500 a month, something like that. And I ended up saving like 0.7 Bitcoin during that amount of time. And it was only for like the last year. I didn't really get into it until like the last year that I was on workers' comp. And like, if I look back, like how much money I blew on useless shit,
yeah,
the whole time I was on workers' comp when I could have been saving, it doesn't really, at some point, like it doesn't seem like there's a point because it's just so difficult to like make a difference in your finances, and like now that 0.7 of a Bitcoin is worth 70 grand. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like you said,
and it was probably, I think I probably spent maybe 10 grand on it.
Yeah. And like you said,
and I was literally putting as much money as I possibly could into Bitcoin at that time. Like, dude, I would get to the end of the month and I'd have almost nothing left. I'd be down to like, can I afford milk at the store this week?
Yeah.
Type of shit. Because I was just putting every single dollar that I had into it.
Yeah. That's kind of the big, I probably for a lot of people, if you don't either have somebody to just hand you a nice big chunk of money to like start you off, like you said in San Francisco, you went to go try to find somebody to help you with 35 grand and that was not enough. Which I have suffered from a lot of my life, especially in the last few years for sure, of trying to, convince myself to start doing something. It's that kind of defeatist attitude of, well, I barely have anything as it is. What difference is it going to make kind of mindset? So I feel like, regardless of what I think or feel about what I want to do with my money, I'm at the point where I feel like I fucking have to. Otherwise, I'm probably
you don't have much of a choice.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm probably just gonna end up walking out into the woods when I can't work anymore and let a fucking mountain lion eat me. Circle of life shit.
Yeah. Old Yeller.
Yeah.
Just take him out into the back pasture.
Yeah. At least
put him down.
At least I'm pretty lean and I got a lot of protein, so at least I'll make a decent meal for some fucking cat.
All right. Well, let's call it and we'll do this again next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Holy shit, that's loud.
Woo.